Have you ever stepped into a room and felt something weird hanging in the air that nobody else seems to pick up on? That strange heaviness that sits there like fog? The fake smiles people paste on their faces? The roles they slide into like actors getting ready for opening night? Everyone treats it like it matters, like it's dead serious, but you can see right through the whole thing. You notice their worries sound like lines they memorize from a script. Their problems feel like reruns of old TV shows. Their goals look like cheap props from a dollar store. And right there, in that moment, you're carrying around this wild secret because you're picking up on stuff that flies right over everyone else's head. At first, this awareness feels incredible, like you just unlock some hidden superpower, and honestly, it kind of is. But here's the kicker. It also comes with a nasty side effect. Because when you see things too clearly, you end up stepping outside the dream that everyone else swears is the only reality. The world doesn't actually run on what's real or true. It runs on stuff we all just decided to agree on. Money only matters because we say it does. Clocks only control us because we let them. Country lines only exist because we drew them on maps. Job titles only mean something because we give them power. None of this stuff is some eternal cosmic law carved into the fabric of reality. These are just stories we tell ourselves. Useful little lies that keep everything running smooth but fragile as hell. When you start punching holes in these stories, the magic spell starts falling apart. You suddenly realize that money is just paper and numbers on screens. Time is just a trick your brain plays on you. Social status is nothing but a costume people refuse to take off. You're not stuck in the trance anymore. You're not playing along with the game. And that freedom you just found, it freaks out everyone who's still trapped inside. Not because you're doing anything wrong, but because you're messing with the illusion that keeps their whole world from crumbling. Imagine a bunch of kids sitting around playing some board game. They're fighting hard about whose turn it is. They're screaming at each other about who's cheating. They're acting like winning this game is life or death. But you're standing outside watching them, and you're smiling because you know it's all just cardboard pieces and plastic tokens. To you, how serious they're taking it seems almost funny. That's exactly what life looks like once your eyes are really open. All the stuff people are fighting about, hanging on to, crying over, none of it is more real than those game pieces sitting on a board. But if you walk up and tell them that, if you try to show them how silly it all is, they're going to look at you like you just ruined everything. They won't say thank you. They might actually turn on you. This is the real danger that comes with seeing what others can't. People who see differently have always been treated like outsiders. Look back through history and you'll find it everywhere. Mystics who caught glimpses of the bigger picture got called crazy. Thinkers who asked hard questions about how society works got laughed at, locked up, or worse. Artists who created stuff nobody had seen before got torn apart by critics before anyone celebrated them. Not because they were wrong or confused, but because they saw way too much. And here's the truth most people won't admit. They like their illusions better than reality. For the average person, the lies feel safer than the truth. When you rip off their masks, they fight back. They protect their games with everything they've got. They grip even tighter to the roles they're playing. So the person who can actually see has to learn to be careful. Not everyone is ready for what you can show them. Vision isn't always welcome to people who are still walking around blind. But don't mistake any of this for a curse or some kind of punishment. Seeing more deeply is also being set free. Suddenly you're not getting sucked into stupid drama anymore. You stop chasing things that don't matter. You understand that all the struggles, the competition, the stress and worry, it's all just ripples on top of a massive ocean. They rise up, they sink down, and underneath all of it is this depth that stays perfectly calm, totally unshaken, going on forever. The real test is what you do with this vision once you've got it. If you let it turn you bitter and angry, if you let it blow up your ego and make you think you're better than everyone else, you're just creating more distance between yourself and other people. But if you carry it lightly, with a sense of humor and some humility, then what you're holding becomes real wisdom. You still show up and play the game, but now you're doing it with full awareness. You still eat your meals, go to work, fall in love, build things, but now there's this sparkle in your eye because you get the joke. You're not treating winning like it's survival anymore. You're not white-knuckling every outcome. You see life for the theater it really is, and that recognition lets you actually enjoy the show way more than the people who think it's all real. The wisest people aren't the ones who walk away from the game completely and go live in a cave somewhere. They're the ones who can dance inside the game without getting tangled up in it. The real master isn't someone who leaves the stage. It's someone who can play every single role with grace and style, fully knowing it's all just play. But there's still a price to pay. Seeing what others don't see means carrying a rue, a certain kind of loneliness. If you try explaining too much, people start calling you weird or strange. If you keep your mouth shut and say nothing, you feel completely alone. This is exactly why, throughout all of human history, people who woke up went looking for others like them. Writers found other writers. Spiritual seekers recognized fellow travelers on the path. The people who could see met each other with knowing smiles because finally they weren't the only ones awake in the dream anymore. But what happens if you can't find those people? Then your path becomes carrying this vision by yourself, living in the world without letting it swallow you whole, going to your job but not confusing your worth with what your business card says, loving people but not mixing up love with ownership or control, achieving success but not believing you are your achievements. You might still play all your parts, but you wear them like light costumes that you can change whenever you want. The danger isn't in the seeing itself. The danger is in how you deal with what you're seeing. You can let it make you hard, resentful, thinking you're right and everyone else is stupid. Or you can stay soft, playful, full of compassion, even while you're walking around with deeper vision than most. Here's where the paradox lives. People who see things differently usually get rejected at first, but later on they get celebrated. The person everyone called crazy becomes the prophet everyone quotes. The heretic becomes the saint. The misunderstood artist becomes the genius who changed everything. What society pushes away in one generation, it worships in the next. This means the exact thing that makes you dangerous right now might one day be honored as wisdom. But you have to survive the messy middle part, and that takes real humility. You're not better than other people just because you see differ. Ently. You're not above anyone. You're just carrying a torch that burns way too bright for some people's eyes right now. So how are you supposed to actually live with this kind of vision? First thing is patience. Other people wake up when they're ready, not when you decide they should. Second thing is humility. You don't need to turn into some preacher on a street corner, or some warrior fighting for truth, or some judge looking down on everyone. And the third thing is playfulness. If life really is a dream, then laugh with it, dance with it, soak up all its temporary beauty while you can. Seeing clearly doesn't mean you should pull back and disconnect. It means you get to jump in and participate with way more freedom, without all that crushing seriousness, weighing you down, like it does to everyone else. When you understand that the play is just a play, you can step into it with so much more joy. The danger of seeing is absolutely real, but so is the incredible joy that comes with it. When you can see clearly, you're free, and freedom is always, always worth whatever it costs. Think about what it feels like to suddenly realize you're dreaming while you're still in the dream. Everyone else around you is treating the dream like it's real life, but you just figured out it's not. You might try to tell them, but they laugh in your face, call you stupid, or yell at you for wrecking the dream. Yet your awareness doesn't actually change the dream at all. It only changes you. The dream keeps rolling along, but now you move through it completely differently. That's both the gift and the weight of perception. You can't unsee what's been shown to you. The bigger danger isn't that the world is going to reject you. It's that you might reject the world. Because once you see through all its lies and illusions, you might be tempted to just check out completely, to stand back with your RMS crossed, to act like you're above it all. That's the trap waiting for people who can see, becoming cynical and cold, looking down on the sleepers, confusing clear vision with arrogant pride. But that's just another illusion wearing a different mask. Seeing clearly isn't about rising above everyone else. It's about sinking deeper into the mystery of it all. Knowing life is theater doesn't mean you refuse to act. It means acting with more grace, more freedom, more love than you ever could before. Think about a dancer who knows this is her very last performance. Wouldn't she dance even wilder, even more beautifully, precisely because she knows it can't last forever? That's how the awakened person lives, tasting food more fully, loving more deeply, breathing more consciously. Seeing through the illusion doesn't make life smaller or less important. It makes life infinitely richer and more precious. And still, you're going to be misunderstood all the time. People will ask you why you're smiling when they're falling apart, why you're calm when they're panicking, why you feel light when they're carrying around all that weight. You can't always explain it to them. Words almost never bridge that gap. There's an old saying that goes like this: those who really know don't talk about it, and those who talk about it don't really know. Why does that saying exist? Because truth isn't some clever idea you can win an argument with. It's a way of being, a way of moving through the world. Awakening isn't something you can just hand over to someone like a birthday present. It has to grow inside them, like a seed cracking open when the conditions are finally right. So the wise person stops trying to argue and convince and preach, and they simply start living. Their actual life becomes the teaching. The whole universe is playful if you really look at it. It hides from itself, forgets its elf, puts on disguises, also it can rediscover itself in endless different forms. You and me, we're part of that cosmic game. And when you wake up, you realize you were never supposed to control any of it. You were meant to dance along with it. But how could you ever explain dancing to someone who refuses to stand up, who just sits there measuring every step, judging every movement? They'll never get it until they actually stand up and start moving themselves. Same thing with people who can't see yet. They can't be convinced just with words alone. They have to experience it for themselves. This is why awakening can feel so isolating. You're seeing stuff others aren't, and you feel like you're some island sitting in a sea full of people who are still asleep. You can't always share what you know. And yet you're not truly alone, because that ocean is still all around you, holding you up. You're just playing a different note in the same huge symphony. If you live out what you see with patience, grace, and humility, eventually other people will hear it. Not because you force them or convince them with arguments, but because truth carries its own music. Slowly, quietly, it starts to resonate with people. This is why mystics laugh so much. Not because life is meaningless or trivial, but because it's way too sacred and precious to be taken so seriously. The person who can really see realizes that all the striving, all the chasing, all the deadly seriousness, it's like trying to grab your own shadow. You can never catch it, no matter how hard you try. And yet, the second you stop running around, you discover it was right there with you the whole time. Seeing is like standing completely still for the first time in your life and realizing the treasure you were searching for was always right here. And that realization makes you dangerous in the best possible way. Not dangerous to yourself, but dangerous to all the illusions society depends on to keep running. So what are you supposed to do with this kind of vision? Do you hide it away because you're scared of rejection? Do you swing it around like a sword, cutting down illusions everywhere you go? Neither one of those will work out well for you. The art of living with real awareness is way more subtle than that. You have to carry it lightly, the way you'd carry a candle flame through the dark. Not to burn things down, but to light the way. Remember something important here. People aren't usually afraid of truth itself. They're afraid of everything that truth threatens to destroy. Showing them something they can't handle seeing yet is like ripping back a curtain way too fast. Real compassion means knowing when to speak up and when to stay quiet, when to guide someone and when to back off and let them figure it out. A wise teacher never drags a student forward against their will. They just open a door and then wait. Seeing too much isn't a curse dropped on your head. It's an invitation from the universe itself. The universe has whispered its deepest secrets into your ear, and now it's waiting to see what you'll do about it. Will you hoard the vision like it belongs only to you? Or will you let it flow through you, shaping your life into a living example instead of turning yourself into some boring sermon? The truly awakened people don't walk around claiming they're enlightened. They just embody it quietly through their laughter, through their kindness, through their presence in each moment. This is the beautiful paradox. Seeing life as illusion doesn't mean withdrawing from it and becoming some cold observer. It means loving it way more deeply than you ever could before. You know the play is temporary, so you drink in every act, every character, every scene. You laugh at the comedy. You cry the tragedy. But you never forget you're part of something massive that includes both. And this remembering sets you free. Other people might not understand why you don't cling to things, why you don't walk around terrified, why you're not constantly chasing the next thing. They might call you strange, detached, even reckless or irresponsible. But you're none of those things. You're simply awake. You see the wave for what it really is, rising up, falling down, dissolving back into the sea. You don't fight against the tide. You dance with it. So what really is the danger of seeing too much? Maybe it's not danger at all. Maybe it's responsibility. When you can see clearly, all your excuses vanish into thin air. You can't pretend you don't know anymore. You can't go back to ignorance even if you wanted to. You can't bow down and worship shadows once you've seen the actual light. The weight of awareness is that it demands you live with integrity. You have to line up your life with what you know is true, even when nobody else around you does. And yet there's something beautiful about carrying this weight. It grounds you. It softens you. It reminds you every day that clarity isn't some weapon you're supposed to hit people with. It's a mirror you hold up. When people look into that mirror, they might resist what they see, or they might wake up. That choice belongs to them. Your only job is to keep the mirror clean and polished. So live not as someone who thinks they know everything, but as someone who trusts the mystery. Live like the universe is playing itself through you, like every breath is both yours and not yours at the same time, like every single moment is a gift wrapped up in the ordinary packaging of regular life. Because that's the deepest secret hiding at the bottom of everything. Seeing clearly isn't about escaping from the dream. It's about loving the dream Ali, while knowing it's a dream. One day, the people who are resisting you right now might come to you in silence. They won't ask for explanations or arguments. They'll just want to sit in your presence, and you'll smile. Not because you're some master or guru, but because you're still a student of the same eternal dance that never ends. The more you see, the more you realize just how infinite and endless the mystery really is. So maybe the real danger isn't that you see too much. Maybe it's that you might forget to actually live what you're seeing. Because wisdom without love is completely empty. Vision without action is just another shadow on the wall. The whole point isn't to stand there staring at the curtain forever. It's to step onto the stage and play your part with grace and presence, knowing perfectly well it's all a play. When that curtain finally comes down at the end, you'll take your bow. Not with regret or sadness, but with deep gratitude, because you'll know that you saw, you lived, and you loved, and that was always enough.